have to keep constant care onto G2 not pushing because of this trident of players constantly putting utility onto them. This is going to be resolved with a Vitality that at some point makes the call to, well, still, remember, retrievable utility. Those salvos are going to come back. Those stuns are going to come back. And the response of Vitality is actually to go on to B. From this on, they're going to, G2 is going to be able to isolate the kills. There's only 20 seconds left. I'm just going to let the round play from now on. There's only 20 seconds left, and they have to get the plan down. They've been dealt some damage, and you're not going to believe it, but Trent will eventually get even more salvos on. Vitality is put in such a high-pressure situation where they are the ones actually that might end up with the disadvantage. The rest of it is history. Trent beautifully gets one. Again, those salvos come back. Jogemo comes and push through the smoke, and that's how you convert one of those beautiful ecos, Josh.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting when you think about what composition EDG are going to be running on the other side if we do end up going to Lotus. They've been playing since July this Death Ball composition, which has the Breach and the Clove and all of this kind of stuff, the double smokes, and they kind of roam around the map in a big blob. And you have Jorgamo who can peek for info and get out. Then you have the Tejo drone. There's so much utility there. I think it's going to be a real challenge. I'd almost like to see EDG change up their composition if they're going to play into that.
I mean, they've been changing a lot of compositions. I don't see why Lotus would be different if we end up going there.
Hey, and we have been seeing teams like try to counter what some of these picks are coming in from these other squads. G2 did that literally. We were talking about that to Vitality yesterday. But let's actually get some head-to-heads here because we got nobody going up against Trent, and this is going to be, you know, for all the Tejos out there. Okay, these guys have been rocking that agent, but as we were talking about with Trent in that MVP conversation there, Sideshow, he has been playing phenomenally for this G2.
Yeah, he's been doing great. He's frying. I mean, he's playing some of the best Valorant he's played since he's got into the Tier 1 level. He's finally getting himself super comfortable in a LAN environment and performing to his best while he's here on the biggest stage. And we actually haven't seen nobody have one of his takeover games. Sometimes nobody, even though he's the IGL and he's a little bit silly, he's a little goofy, he can just run around and kind of dominate. But we haven't seen one of those games yet from nobody. He did it in the Chinese Grand Finals, hasn't done it here. Hey. So he's a player that could step up and be an X factor.
No time like the present. No time like the present. But of course, well, let's actually jump in over toward Trent because he had a big win yesterday with G2, and we had an opportunity to catch up with him in this Omen player moment.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Trent here from G2. Feeling good after the match win versus Vitality. Team played great. We always want to give our opponent like the level of respect that they deserve. As for Vitality, they're a very good team. They have 5 incredible players, so we knew that was going to be hard, but we were very confident going into it. I'm just happy that they probably feel good that they got their revenge back on them. And yeah, I mean, Derke's a great player, so, and Vitality's a great team, so beating them is definitely giving us a lot of confidence.
Splitting up for the time being. Paranoia, that's a double blind. Nearsighted as both of them. They're just trying to cut sound cues away. Keep a series of unknowns into the play, but Jonah forced to reveal his hand. It's 3 in round 4, and will he get the 4? Yes, he will!
The fans here in Thailand, you guys are awesome. Even today on like a Thursday at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, you guys filled up the back section. So feeling the energy from you guys and like all the positive vibes from people running up to us after the matches or always screaming G2, we really appreciate the support, and we're trying to win it for you guys.
Now today we're going to be seeing 2 stone cold killers face off against one another. We talked about it briefly in the MVP discussion. Let's run it back again. It's Chichu and Leaf. These 2 guys have been playing so well throughout the event. Leaf always a stellar performer, but really, Kukuka, it's been Chichu's just absolute dominance in this tournament that has been the talk of the town.
Time and time again, it's not one map, it's not one of the matches, it's constantly in all of these rounds. We've seen the aces, also the concentration with the rest of the team. We can see the same for Leaf. Both playing from the similar roles. I want to see more, and I would hope to go to the maps where Leaf goes on the chamber more often.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, Chishu dominated last time these 2 teams played against each other. In terms of the actual match that we saw between the 2, Chishu kind of diffed. So I'm looking to see Leaf have more impact, get good reads on what's happening, get those pushes on defense going. because, like you see, the most played here for Leaf is Viper, and I think if they get onto Lotus and he's playing a lot of that, he really can get a read on the game and play really nicely around what the attackers are doing.
Yeah, of course, and we'll see how that whole head-to-head is going to be playing out there. And one of the individuals that's going to be orchestrating all the pieces in that head-to-head is, of course, the IGL Valen for G2, standing by with Jen Lee to get his thoughts ahead of today's match.
Hey yo, what's up everybody? Jen Lee here with Valen. Now Valen, Jonah P yesterday said losing to EDG was the stumble that you guys needed. Now what do you think you guys learned from that series that might help you come out on top today?
I think I was calling too fast-paced versus them last time, so this time around we kind of reviewed the match and just saw where it all went wrong because it was such a devastating loss. And yeah, I think it was a bit of like a reality check too. So now we feel a lot more confident and we know our weaknesses and we worked on them, so I think it's going to be a different result.
How many maps are you winning today?
3 maps.
Oh, 3 maps.
He knows it's a BO3.
He's just thinking about getting to the
He's just
BO5.
freaking
Ah, okay, okay. All right,
He's already in the future.
Look, guys, both teams are playing in our first matchup have shown some really creative ways of stopping utility, most notably Brimstone Mollies on Vine. Let's actually go ahead and show some of these moments here because there were some really awesome moments, like EDG did this a while ago when they managed to block the Molly dropping in, thus allowing them to get that diffuse off.
So whatever you think you can do, Chichu can do better, is what you're trying to tell me? Okay.
Pretty much.
He got his foot on it there, didn't he? He got his right foot on
Look
it.
at this one. This is the Jogamo one. He actually went for a little header.
I love that.
But he missed, you see? Whatever job
Oh, there was a gap. Look, there was a gap. It's just that the salvos came in at the back. He can't be held responsible for the insane cringe post plant that his opponents were playing.
Well, you know what? Look, I saw that, and the only value I bring to this show is funny bits. So I figured what would be a good idea to do something I like to call the Jog Challenge, where you got to get one of these awesome little plushies that we have, our Valorant plushies, whether it's Wingman, a little bro, or Dan, or Tactibear, into this bucket right here. Okay, he's got to do a header. Now here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm gonna ask you questions while we do this. Okay,
right.
so Josh, really, I guess if you had to say what would be one of the things that would potentially be G2's downfall in this game, in this series, what would it be?
I think it'd be the individual form of people like. No, not quite.
Keep going.
I think it'd be the individual form of people like. Kanko or Chichu. If Kanko or Chichu have a really good game. Oh, I'm so close, man.
Come out!
Oh my god!
All right, Kakuka.
Jesus,
Kakuka,
I
let me
am
ask
going
you,
to miss.
what do you think
okay.
about G2's chances winning this game? What would be their potential downfall?
There is no downfall coming in from. That was terrible. Alex, that was coming in here. Come on, you can do better than that.
This is the best job ever.
I think that I believe in what Valen said. They're going to change everything and just play. I can't do this. And just play how they did yesterday. I think that. Oh yeah. No. Let's go him.
Oh! Get it again. Oh!
So just like we thought, and just like Jogamo showed us yesterday, this is actually harder than it looks like.
Yeah, it clearly is. We got a rehearsal, and then, dang it! I tried. What would be EDG's potential downfall then?
I think it would be changing too many compositions. I think if they do try to pick split, thinking that it's a trap. Sorry, if they do pick split, thinking that it's a weakness for G2.
Of course.
G2 have only played it once this entire year.
Yeah.
I can see them changing the comp, coming out with good ideas. I'm nearly headbutting the desk there, GB.
Let me throw it at Alex.
All right, here we go.
Okay, you got it. This is our last shot. Okay. That was too low. I'm so sorry. It's the first time that I got the wingman.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
Little fun fact about me. I am one of the only Puerto Rican soccer players in my high school. And I sucked, as you can tell. Well, we failed, but overall, we got a good exercise. So it's now time for the results of our MasterCard fan poll. And earlier we asked you which team will be the first to qualify for Sunday's grand finals. And 65% says EDG.
I feel like this is because EDG kind of flattened G2 on Bind and Fracture when we last saw them play, but people are not taking into account that the map pool is going to change and that G2 have taken away some specific lessons and ante.
Absolutely, and also the surprises are not going to be there anymore. EDG has played most of the maps so far here in the competition. They still have some that they haven't touched, but that is not a surprise anymore. You're still going to come in, and I think the G2 have a lot to be scared of, but I trust Valen. I trust his knowledge.
Cross Valen few times in the hallway. We chatted for a bit. Confidence is high for the IGL. Confidence is high, and that's why I picked them, baby, because they're going to go to the grand finals. The predictions are in for our talent here. Sideshow, you went EDG and Vitality, and Bea, you went G2 and Vitality.
I really think that after what we saw yesterday, like I regained my confidence in it. Maybe I really expected EDG to win against T1, and maybe that's why it didn't surprise me anymore that much. But I still think it's very evened out. It depends a lot on the maps, I think.
Yeah, I think G2 are almost certainly going to be getting rid of Fracture, and then it just comes down to how they with their new composition, might be able to win on Bind, and that should be utterly key.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome to see how this all plays out. You got a G2 that is hungry for that grand finals, an EDG that wants to make history. We got back-to-back rematches on the way as we decide our top three. EDG versus G2, T1 versus Vitality. Day 7 of Masters Bangkok starts right now.
comes down to this, do or die.
저희 T1은 물러날 곳이 없을 때 더 잘하는 것 같습니다. 일단은 저희가 조별 예선에서 바이탈리티한테 한 번 졌었잖아요. 지금 저희는 더 강해졌고 더 강력해졌기 때문에 바이탈리티를 무조건 이기도록 하겠습니다.
Getting stronger and stronger, Sylvan just rejoining the squad, needing to ace clutch to keep them in the map. Avoids the fault line, swings back, finds one! And Sylvan will bail them out!
We are more of an adaptive team. We can play aggressive, we can play slow.
Vitality on pace to potentially steal this round away!
T1, good luck.
복수를 할 수 있도록 무조건 보여드리겠습니다. 바이탈리티.
首先，我觉得我们现在队伍的实力其实肯定是很强烈、很高的水准。
He was taking T1's head. He was taking T1's names, and EDG has taken this match.
我觉得我们现在已经就是无所畏惧了。
For G2, I know those guys are going to be hankering for the rematch against EDG.
We lost them last time, so we're coming in with a different game plan. We know what to expect now. We know we're doing right.
JP forced to reveal his hand. It's 3 in round 4. Will he get the 4th? Yes, he will!
We have that confidence in us to execute it.
There is no comfort. There is no surviving. G2 gets what they want.
The team to beat EDG has been born.
What a way to start things off here in Bangkok, Thailand, as your world champions making their way to the stage. And a big chance for them to do the unthinkable, punch their ticket to a grand final, make history, and not just put China on the map, cement China's legacy in Valorant forever.
They're hunting for something big here, something that barely any team has ever done. And the team that stands before them, G2. G2 have been in this spot before at Masters Shanghai. They got their way into the upper finals. They didn't win a map after that. Bombed out 0-2, 0-3. Valen says, we just have to make sure history doesn't repeat itself.
And history is constantly changing. Will it change also when we go into the map veto? Remember, everybody, this is a rematch of something we have already seen throughout this tournament. Things have changed within both teams, and we expect some surprises in and out of the server.
The pressure is on for both of these teams, both squads here. And really, when you think about the journeys of both of these teams, the actual teams themselves, teams that stuck together, that pushed through all the difficulties that would always lay itself before you in the season, and they managed to forge themselves an awesome path here to the upper finals. And here is your series layout. Lotus, Split, and if necessary, Bind. Sideshow, what do you make of this?
It makes perfect sense that G2 would get rid of Fracture. They got stomped on that map. Valence talked about lowering the pace. That's going to be really important on Lotus. Like I said, EDG have been playing a deathball comp since about July. They're 7-3 on it overall, but they've lost 3 out of 4 of their last maps when they've played Lotus. So it's a comp that's getting worse over time, and G2 have a chance coming out strong.
I tell you what sticks out to me there at the end is that Bind. I'm really curious to see how that one plays out if we end up going to 3.
Yeah, exactly. EDG not feeling so comfortable going to Bind. After what we saw yesterday, the changes coming in from G2, they decide to go for Split, a map that G2 has only played once throughout the entirety of the year, and they were not successful in winning it. They see another weakness, and they try to exploit it. It worked the previous time, but I'm not so sure about
and
this.
Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. It was a G2 pick against Sentinels on the finals when they went for Split, right?
Yeah, it was a first-round pick in that BO5. They lost 13-4. I'd be surprised, honestly, if G2 come out with, maybe even if it is the same comp, if they go for something slightly different. Nobody goes back over to the Fade. They've been swapping between the Fade and the Sova, but it's the same idea from Edward Gaming. They have run this comp since July 10 times, 7-3, but lost 3 out of 4 of the most recent. I think G2 are going to be so ready for this.
Exactly, and I think that the context is very important. Kankan not swapping again onto that Euro. EDG in general not falling into the new compositions that they've been having and treating this a little bit of that last fracture that they had on the last time that they faced against G2.
Well, folks, this is it. The winner moves on to the grand finals here in Bangkok, Thailand. Our teams are ready for the first pistol round, so let's send it over to your casters. It's Ender and Pansy.
Thank you so much, and what an incredible matchup we are teed up for here. A revenge tour for G2, potentially, right? But the battleground has been changed. They don't want to face EDG in the same way, and rightly so. EDG looked phenomenal towards those second and third maps.
They absolutely blew G2 out of the water. So we come into the series today in very new territory, like you're saying. G2 choosing to start things off on Lotus this time around. This has been an excellent map for them, but we haven't seen EDG play it since their finals. Same story on Split, but the other way around, where EDG tried to challenge G2. G2 haven't played that but one time this year. I really think these opening 2 maps are about stealing away your opponent's map pick to set yourself up in a great spot in this series.
5 more seconds and it all begins. We do have the frenzy coming out for Kankan. We're gonna have a couple of bits and pieces to look towards. It will be EDG on the attack, G2 on the defending side. This is common ground for G2. How do they look now? Jorgmo already noted.
Got Jonah P playing over in Waterfall, was stun held early on in the round, but I think EDG, Smoggy especially, on this Clove is going to want to challenge into the B site, look and see if there's a potential pivot through that door.
Teo Utility has already cleared over towards that A space, so the likes of G2, they can sit a little bit more comfortable in this stack, but already Kankan's going to take the space away. They've got security on B.
Yeah, he made that noise sliding into Waterfall, but falls out because they want to fight up into heaven. 3 players ready to attack towards Leaf with this stun.
G2, you better be ready for this. You know what EDG are like. They want to bring that tempo. They want to bring that pace. They take up towards that CT side, over towards stairs. Now the fight actually begins. Util still in play. It's Leaf to fall, Tread to fall. Valen goes down. G2 falling like flies until then. Jorgmo and Jonah P now with an uphill struggle, to say the least. Kankan makes sure of it. EDG, round 1.
Just destruction here on the opening pistol for EDG. That fight up for heaven goes beautifully, and they'd also left Chichu, who's been such a consistent problem for any team that faces EDG in this tournament. He's over in main, killing those flankers from G2 that were trying to pinch in on the retake.
back of that, nobody off to a belting start. And I feel like when you look through this EDG roster, every single player, their name just strikes fear, doesn't it? Chichu, probably in line to being one of the players to walk out of this with that MVP.
He has been playing absolutely phenomenally so far across this tournament, in that series versus G2 earlier as well. Looks like into this next round, G2 have guessed poorly. 4 players on that C site, and EDG gonna quickly find that no one's really home apart from John. He doesn't even have a sheriff to his name.
This is lacking in almost all areas, hoping for a bit of timing or something on their side. Chichu's having none of that. Jogamo found, site secure, plants in play, everything looking good, tick in the box.
Yeah, right now G2 just trying to show a couple of those C fights early on in these opening rounds. Start that conditioning. Smoggy's conditioning is that he's just going to kill you if you look at him.
I think that goes for all of them, actually. That seems to apply throughout. Oh, and the confidence is sky high. Leaf brought to his knees real quick.
Yeah, at least he doesn't have to go very far. He's already back in spawn, ready to rebuy a gun.
Isn't that nice of them?
Not too bad.
Any early ults to come through here? Nothing massively locked in yet. Obviously, Chichu the closest, but not exactly something you're going to be writing home about. But again, I do want to see once those start building, who's going to be the player to kind of take the forefront in this. We've got some big names here. Maybe some that you wouldn't expect. Jaws not even been the kind of headliner in my mind. It's been Jonah P, it's been Trent, it's been Leaf on occasion, all having their moments in the sun. Of course, for EDG, just lists off the whole roster.
Yeah, it's going to be a brawl headed over towards Rebel in this early round. I mean, tons of utility spent.
Oh, everything's here. This is absolutely wild. It's Jonah P and Trent to get the secure kills first. It's slowed down the roll a lot for EDG. Spam through the smoke, hoping for a connection. Unconfirmed damage, but damage nonetheless.
Yeah, G2 going to back out of that space, just throw up the Viper wall, fall on back. You can see G2 a little bit worried about one player rotating into that B space, so can use a Tejo drone to clear out front B, realize no one's in there. Maybe start shifting back into the A side after that, sees nothing.
Just easing off the pressure here. EDG looking to settle into this. Again, now the pressure's almost on G2 to keep this cool, to not lose any of these access points, and I hope they don't go overly searching here. Jorgamo better play this patiently.
Could peek into spawn here, and the timing says that he might. Gets it, sees the spike. That's a good look from him. Going for more is just too much, though.
That greed could cost him. Again, these are the small margins, those fine margins. And look at the rest of G2. Look how passive they are sat here.
Exactly. And G2 don't play with the Sentinel. Neither of these teams do. So once you lose players especially, there's these huge gaps. They've got 2 players in spawn right now because you can't hold B site and A site. Instead, they're giving all that territory away, saying, you plant the spike, tell us where you are, then we'll go on the retake.
And then you look at Trent and you look at Valen, utility at plenty. They've got plenty to play on the retake with as well. They can try and clear through some of these areas. And for EDG, it's doing their due diligence as well. Methodically approaching. Nice attempt here to stall, but I feel like they could have maybe paused for a second and tried to play off it. But regardless, they start working back through heaven, and nobody's tried to slip the net. Now, Leaf is such an aware player. He should be heads up for this one. Lovely. Good shoulder check. Doesn't need to do too much. Needs to wait for the other 2 to swing in through this smoke. Looking for that paranoia. It's good. Nobody removed from the fight. Smoggy falls. Valen strides in. It's not going to happen for nobody. G2 keep their cool.
That's that signature G2 patience, that control going in on the retake there. Leaf just barely jiggling that line. You could tell he knew that EDG were going to try to get aggressive. And it all starts with this early fight into Rubble, right? G2 had shown 2 looks where they were majority of their team over towards Sand, so as soon as they come in on the anti-bonus, it's going to be that big Rubble fight. Throw that loop at EDG, catch them off guard.
Nice, boys.
This feels like it's all about kind of setting expectations, right? Tempo expectations, the pressure, the pace coming in from this, because EDG went in really head first over towards that Rubble side, and I wonder if they're willing to brawl again, because it looks like G2 are up for it.
Honestly, EDG, when they played Trace on this map in their finals, it was just a Rubble fights on loop, and we're seeing more of it now.
Oh, this might be vicious. You're looking at Kung Kung to try and find a little bit of space to maneuver in, and if anything, he just found the bad end of the gun. Trent and Jonah P putting in the pain. G2 once again walking away with the advantage from this scrap.
I like that G2 are matching EDG blow for blow over here, because usually their A-holds are a lot more reserved. You know, let Jaw take a fight with some utility, and then he'll TP back. That's what EDG's prep would have told them, but by showing these early fights, EDG are realizing it's not that free territory they're maybe expecting in this matchup.
We saw that gear shift in the last round for G2. Hyper passive, right? Playing almost in spawn. Now, it looks like G2 still want to secure this space by rubble. It's been evacuated. Maybe just that Teo drone coming in and still having some contact kept them present enough. But the C site is completely available. Obviously, EDG don't know that. They're still going to try and take a little bit of precaution on the way through. But this buys time for some of these rotations. And for G2, they don't need to rush things. You got to look at what util they have to play this back in with. Trent still primed with plenty. Valen should be there as well.
What I'm looking at in this post-plant, EDG are down numbers. They're going to want to fight forward, and Simon has the fault line ready to go. To me, it looks like a fight into Waterfall where G2 are stacked.
Yeah, this could be an absolute brawl breaking out. They want to have a fight. Yeah, the stun's just spot on. They're going for the swing, and it might have been a miss until then. Smoggy with back-to-back impact. He didn't expect the third, but finally Valen makes it there. Down to the 1v1. Simon sees him playing around. What does Simon say about this one? Nothing! Valen brings him to his knees, and this discipline from G2 looks perfect.
That was unreal, right? EDG had the perfect read, stun up 2 targets, but they weren't ready for that extra player into Waterfall. Valen keeping his cool in that moment too. It's just exactly what G2 needed to tie it up.
I'm just impressed with the win cons that G2 are playing to, because they're reading EDG quite nicely, it feels like. Have an early scrap. Luckily for them, they've been coming out with man advantages from this fight, which I don't want to say it's a coin flip. It does feel high risk, but they've been rewarded. But then in these post plants, they know what they need to do here. EDG want to get that advantage back, want to get a player up. They're ready for these brawls.
Yeah, the brawls on the retakes are looking real clean. And honestly, they're set up to continue showing similar looks.
Let's go, baby!
Jumping into the next round, EDG going to be fighting for Rebel again, although this time G2 are not going to overcommit to the space. Giacomo's over towards C, and you look at the ults G2 have on the Tejo, on the Yoru as well. They're going to not be so keen to fight forward and instead play a heavy retake with those abilities.
And again, if you're EDG, you're being conditioned to believe there is presence there, right? So it gives G2 that freedom to now put bodies elsewhere, over towards Mound, over towards this passive B hold. It allows a lot of faith to be put in Trent.
Now that EDG have chosen not to speed up into the A side, that they're playing for this space in front B, well, G2 with this sand space, they can open up door. If EDG try to exec in, they can get a little crunch going in the mid-round.
I like what EDG are trying, though. They're going fact-finding, right? They're looking for information here. They felt maybe there was that pressure towards A, but they've already put players up towards it, right? A little bit of a show towards door, a little bit of the paranoia. These are all ticks in the box, right? They're trying to draw players over, get a read. Kung might have noted it's on over towards Mound there.
EDG have the perfect timing to go for a B hit. Giacomo just teleported out of the sand space, so there's no crunch this time.
Oh, this is nice. It was a real feint towards A. It's drawn the eyes over there. The ult's even going to go in, but now we know it's over towards B, but the chaos continues. Jaw wants to find some impact here. He's found more than that. He's found 3. They're pouring through towards the seaside. Valen can't get the gun out in time. EDG pivot on a dime, but they're not in the clear just yet. Kung still securing CT, holding that space, allowing the plant to come in. Chichu catching that B rotate. They out-pivoted G2 so well this round.
EDG just snapped G2's ankles in half. I mean, what a play. They were so patient in that round, really testing out the space into A, baiting out an ultimate, and then going all the way into C.
Wow. God, that's good problem solving.
Wow. And you think back to, what was it, the pistol round where they went for that B hit, they slid into the waterfall space and then backed out of it, fought towards heaven. So that's what G2 are thinking about. This time they go all the way through and G2 have no clue what's happening to them.
I mean, it's just the boldness in the way EDG plays. I love it. The fact they were so willing to pivot through towards C, maybe knowing G2 have been playing hyper passive. They haven't been playing, super active on these sites. The rotations are taking that long route around playing safety. But again, the fact that they found that out by what, round 5, round 4, they have nice plans in mind. It's beautiful, and it's broken the money of G2.
All those little inserts they left on the map to watch their backs also looking very nice. Now, G2, they've got a fault line ready to stun front B if Valen finds any sort of contact. But I like how EDG have slowed things down, because you're going to run into problems because G2 run a lot of these set trap plays, so getting the info is always very important so you don't get caught off guard.
Oh, Chichi knows it. That smoke coming in, he was like, guys, help me out here. I'm about to be surrounded. Lovely little set piece for G2 just to maybe try and get that weapon away, right? Secure some security for themselves, get a little upgrade, and bail out. Valen's going to have that for now, but the C site is under threat.
I don't want to make you nervous, but EDG lost 8 of their 13 anti-ecos yesterday.
Stop it. Stop it. It won't happen again, right? Not like this. Kung already going to show some dominance towards CT. Sides on in. Yeah, they're not taking any chances this time. Kung! It's the name up in lights. Pops the ult, secures the round. They are taking zero risk.
It almost looks like just the playbook that Liquid was trying to run versus G2 the other day, where it's all these fights forward. Now a couple times back-to-back. Kong's sitting at 10 kills currently. After it got a little bit dodgy at the start, it was a 3v5 at one point. Go into the Neon Ultimate, and G2 have no chance against that.
And maybe again, look, if we note the statistics that EDG was struggling in converting those sort of rounds, having some issues there, yeah, they doubled down.
Looks to me like G2 are gonna go all in for another Rebel fight here. Ready to go with stuns. I mean, just a carbon copy these last few rounds, and G2 are continuing to dominate.
Jaw lighting it up himself now, right back into things with two big picks. Again, man advantage. Last time around, we've seen G2 then shift into a passive hold. They have not fallen away just yet. EDG want more. They want more pain, apparently. G2 punishing. That push-up, trying to get closer. It is just a massacre over towards A.
The walls closing in. From the start of the round, Leaf is full sprinting on the flank to catch out EDG. It was a great refight back through door from Trent. Jogamo starting it off with the 2K. That's what G2 need to continue to show this fight into Rubble and force EDG out of that space.
Feels like a game of chicken now. I'm looking at the minimap already. Y'all can watch a replay, but it feels like who's gonna back away first? Surely they won't do it again, right? Surely they won't run in this time.
Well, I'm not so sure. What EDG need to do is make sure they're not getting double flashed when they're double diving into root. I think they're going back Rubble this time around, and G2 are fighting them again.
This is going to be similar scenes, isn't it? Kong trying to find his routing, find his spacing, and right now they're just finding pain here. Push back once again, Valorant wants the space, looks for his man, it's Jonah P to catch him. Beautiful from G2, that is stunning, and it's over, surely Smoggy. This feels unwinnable, a 1v3, prove me wrong, I dare you. But this is waving the banner of G2. They're just not even giving him a chance. Have fun, good luck, catch you in the next. We're back all even.
G2 cringing it to the max after they get the kills. Not gonna let Clove have a chance to steal back into the round. But you can see those slight differences there. This time, G2 not overcommitting bodies. They let EDG into the space because they have the ultimate trump card. The breach ult just wreaks havoc on EDG, trying to flood in there one after another.
And they're not finding resolution to this, right? And we give a lot of compliments, and rightly so, to EDG for their problem-solving abilities. We love that pivot through B, but you can't keep running those. They're very hard to find repetition with. But taking space towards Rubble is something, you know, it's very high up on the priority list of how you want to approach this. And they haven't found a solution, which is surprising, because as I said, they learn on the fly really well. Timeout comes in. I do wonder what their options are now going forward.
It seemed like some of the slower rounds where they're playing 2 into front B have worked out nicely for them. You can also just, instead of instantly diving into the space in Rubble, you can wait out the utility and then move it back in, maybe try to catch G2 rotating out of the space after they throw down that utility. But we heard Sideshow talking about it a lot on the desk. EDG with this comp, you know, Clove, Neon in there makes sense. They just want to brawl you, and there could be a world where they come out of this timeout and make some slight adjustments to that Rebel attack, because if they can't prove they can beat G2 there, you just kind of lose this side of Lotus.
Yeah, it is a huge point to fight for. What's been the difference? What's the adjustment? You can't keep doing the same thing and hoping for a different outcome. This is a broken purchase too. It ain't pretty. There's still gonna be those stingers there, but they do have 3 rifles, one being a Bulldog, yes, but still. We go again into the battlefield. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Utility
nice,
early.
Though. It's a little bit more restrained. A fake teleport this time around, getting ready for the quick reclear.
Yeah, this is nice. Now, surely G2 have considered this as well, right? We've got that Teho drone going through B. Gonna see nothing. Re-smoke, and Valen now gonna be stunned, but does get played in. He plays it early as well. Stunned up, he still comes out swinging. G2, this is their part of the map. I don't know how EDG are meant to make it through. They are being massacred towards A.
I can't stress enough how different this look of G2 is. Not just from the last time they played against EDG, but how they play this map of Lotus. You never see this team fighting just like this. But their prep coming in told them EDG like to fight for this space. Josh RT said, don't let them have it for free. And they pretty consistently forced the issue on Rebel.
And again, we were kind of complimenting it even in that round. The little tempo change there from EDG, showing a little bit of patience, not going into the util early, not wanting that early scrap, but G2 still just spamming into the smoke, winning every fight. This feels like a shutout. It is crazy to see this. EDG, keep in mind, they won the pistol, got the follow-up. These are sort of things that add to the scoreline. Going back. Do you know the whole definition of madness thing is doing the same thing over and over and hoping for a different outcome? Surely there is a difference.
It's a little better. It's the fake TP again, except this time instead of the re-clear, it's going to be a quick B pivot. I love this look from EDG.
We liked it before as well. We liked it even when they went through Waterfall. We liked a lot of this. And I'd like to see a bit more. EDG. Are they going for the plan here? They are, but close by, G2 are waiting. Nobody lucky, but flashed in. Proactive on the play. Takes the swing, takes the trade. Better. EDG winning out their fight, but Valorant tipping the scales right back in. It's a scrap through and through. This is a bloody battle from start to end, down to the 2v2. G2 win back the site at least.
There's a late flank coming in from Chichu as well. He's one in main, but Chichu is on the hunt.
There's no way. Chichu, your timing is everything. They thought about it, Leaf thought about it, but Jaw on the other side! He's got it! A safe pair of hands for G2 today! Exactly what they needed.
You just can't discount Chichu in a spot like that.
No, you can't.
The collective holding a breath in this arena. Because every other time he's in a spot like that this tournament, he has won it. Finally, someone steps up to take him down. G2 really were challenged on this retake again. EDG getting up in their face.
I keep expecting one team just to slow down the pace, but it's just trading back and back and back and back. It's crazy watching these two just fight this out the whole way.
It's a bit heartbreaking for EDG because once again, it's a bad buy. Once again, out of this timeout, it's showing some presence, but not going into the space, but clearly the adjustment hasn't resulted in much of anything for EDG.
Luke's been chilling. He's not had much to do on this side of the map. He's relaxed. He might not be now.
I kind of forgot C existed, I'm not going to lie.
Certainly early round. At the very least, Kung going to be lucky to be alive on 40. Whoa! A flying leaf looking like a force of nature. Goes back in. What on earth are you thinking? Audacious play. But G2, again, showing their willingness to fight on these sites.
Health bars were looking bad for EDG, but it was mostly the decay damage. Now EDG, what do we do? Still one off from a breach ultimate. Nothing else really to play with, but you know they want to get aggro.
They're going to be hungry for this one too. Oh, not pretty for Smoggy there. That's rough. Forced away. Now the site starts to constrict. Starts to feel smaller. Starts to feel uncomfortable. Valid, not clean himself, but more HP. Job done. Simon and Chichu. We say when Chichu stands, it always feels like there's a chance, but this is a lot to ask for. It might be, oh my god, it is still Chichu. Hold on. There's a man diving behind. He had no idea about it. Jorgamo bounding through the map. And G2 with another. EDG without a response.
EDG have to figure out something here because it's starting to slip away. From 4 to 4, G2 going on a run here, up to 7. Yes, it comes off the back of 2 half buys from EDG, but it's the manner in which it's happening, their game plan being deconstructed, that is the most concerning. EDG have not been able to find an answer to these early fights. They've started shying away from them, but even then, G2 are having so much more success in the post plants.
This feels deranged. We're going back to A again. Again and again we go. Operator there for Leaf, he's fine now. He can just sit there on the angle if he fancies it, but here comes the fight. We've seen it before, and it looks like we'll see it again. This time, Kung gonna be the difference maker. But it ain't over yet. Trent's still here, slows down the roll, backs away. The first time this fight has gone EDG's way.
This post plant is going to be a bloodbath. Simon has the rolling thunder. There's ults on Jaw and Trent, and G2 are moving quickly.
Yeah, they want to get back in. Jaw fancies it. He wants to have a little bit of a biff on this one. EDG, he's seen everything. Calls for it, forces them forward. Leaf with a 1-2 punch. Trying to find more punish. It's Trent down to the 2v2, but nobody and Smoggy finally bring EDG around.
EDG are right back in it. Oof. Just an explosive round between these two teams, toe and toe throughout this opening half. It's a different feeling in the air, but this series is already shining up to be a good one.
Had it with your old phone. We've got you.
At Verizon, trade in any old phone for iPhone 16 Pro on us on any plan. And get iPad and Apple Watch Series 10, all 3 on us. That's up to $2,000 in value. Only on Verizon.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Creo que estoy en
So far at this tournament, G2 and EDG have played 7 pistol rounds versus each other. Currently, EDG have won all 7. They're coming into the second half trailing, but for G2 to come home and take this series seriously, they've got to be able to show up in these early rounds.
Spot on. And that scoreline could rattle a lesser team. But as you said, EDG have the strength of the pistol round. That's something that sat with them well throughout this matchup and this specific head-to-head. It could be enough to close the scoreline out. But can they stick true to the stats?
That's the ultimate question here on the opener. And honestly, I think I might get a little bit more of a respite. Hold on, Smuggy's dodged away from some of this utility down to 5.
Lucky boy. I don't think they know the damage they've done, but still, damage done.
It's crazy that Kong Kong's just been left completely alone, but Simon has Fault Line to support him on this fight.
He's gonna need help. Someone help him. Kong Kong is so alone.
What?
It felt disjointed, maybe a misread here. EDG looking a little bit behind the curve, and look at where Leaf's gone to. Simon trying to be subtle with it, but there's nothing subtle about it. Easy light work for Valen. This looks, for the first time in a while, like EDG are completely behind the wheel.
Yeah, that's certainly a way to win a pistol round. Just 2 free kills to start things off. My eyes are on Smoggy on the flank, but again, he's on 5 HP, so unless he's shooting Jaw in the back of the head, and look at those nades! What?
No way! That is a absolute tilter of a way to end it. And Smoggy was the one who was just left battered and bruised from the start. And we were singing the praises of EDG. I have never seen them look so out of sorts there.
Yeah, that was wild. I want to see exactly what happened. My guess is that the wall came down at the same time as the double Tejo nade came in, and EDG were just completely caught off guards. Boom. Oh, there was a stun. A nasty little stun.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm not actually sure if they even needed to use the stun on the exec. G2 might have been holding that the entire time, or just getting it off the refresh.
G2 look like a different beast, don't they? This worries me, because again, 7 out of 7 were EDGs. That was something that was such a big backbone to their games, always getting that nice buffer at the beginning. Now, you're gonna have to work it out without that. And a big start here for G2, up to 8 early. Jaw having a good little series 2 for him here. A little confidence builder after what's been, I don't want to say a bad performance, but we know his highs. Very hard to have that against a team like EDG.
Exactly. Time to jump. G2 going for true FPX buy here, 3 rifles, so options to upgrade into round 15. Start to snowball this half away, potentially. Looking at ultimates, they haven't done a stellar job so far of scaling those up, although Trent on 3 right now. If they slow play this round, play for the orbs, the plant, he could certainly get close.
Real nice edge stuff, but look where the spike's heading. Thank you, observers, you absolute beauties.
So G2 and EDG are very different teams. EDG on their attacking side fought A at 1 minute 40 seconds,
Yes.
I think every single round, or just about.
Give or take.
G2 play a lot slower, moving over to the C site, but EDG have done their homework. They've got a flank going, yeah, that gets shut down, but the rotates are in, and G2 only have 30 seconds to play with. They're pivoting away from C.
I do get nervous when I see these rounds go this late. There is that one sheriff with Kong Kong, so that's basically where my mind goes towards. And oh my god, forgive me, Simon. I didn't think your classic could do that sort of thing, but apparently it can. 18 seconds now. Getting a little closer. Jonah P on the case. Trying to secure this smoke, because you know the temptation would be to try and work through it. Chichu has a go at it, doesn't work out. Gung down a little low here, and all those opportunities fading. G2, very... the composure is impressive. Again, they were discussing that they were going to come in with a different pace, right? Change the pace up a little bit, play a little bit slower almost, be a little bit more methodical about it. And so far, it's holding true. I get nervous when we get down to like 25, but still.
Sure, yeah, you know, we can get on the edge of our seats just a little bit, but Valen thought that by sort of going for all these early active plays, rushing in the calls, it sort of let EDG play the game style that they wanted to. So I think this half is going to be a lot more G2 true style, slowing the rounds down, leaving embeds over towards stairs into mound. And EDG, without a sentinel of their own, are going to have to do good work to re-clear space and find nice openers like that. You can't complain there.
No, you take those when you get them. Okay, let's have a look at the rest of the map. EDG having a walk, having a wander, stretching the legs.
Get the blood flowing.
That's the one. That feels smaller, but you're starting to feel a little bit nervous if you are Chichu. And then again, it is Chichu. Maybe I'm talking absolute nonsense, because this man's been an absolute monster. Not now. Trent bullies him, takes the site. G2 have control on this now.
And they have the read as well, going up the zip line. I think they realize EDG, they would have hurt them already had they been coming to fast retake, but instead, that flank, the drone, doesn't actually see any players. EDG might be able to creep up on Jaw.
Jaw's ready for it though. He's looking towards his smoke. He's got a good idea, but Smoggy succeeded. Takes away Valen, and now they can start getting that stranglehold going. Jaw falls. It's down to Trent and Jonah P, and they're looking in trouble here. A really hard post plant, but already that's a trade, but it's not quite good enough. No more to be done. EDG proactive on the play back in, taking that walk through B, and will get themselves on the board now.
I wouldn't be surprised to see EDG go for more looks like that, right? If you're worried about G2 leaving inserts and late lurks on you non-stop, just push out the flanks, no problem.
Goddamn.
That was probably the best time you could possibly find. Nice shot there too from Smoggy. As he was the sole presence coming in through his own spawn. If he falls, it's much easier for G2 to turn around and focus on those flankers. He was really the turning point in that round for EDG.
Okay, so bonus round has been navigated. EDG, get what you'd kind of expect, right? If it's a traditional game. This feels nothing like a traditional game, but we're looking at Trent, already there. Big progress of him. Jaw, 2 away. On the other side, nothing mega close yet. Maybe Smoggy's is on the horizon. But it's certainly not there right now.
It's a pretty low commitment default from EDG. You've got nobody throwing a haunt from B site that lands over towards rubble. You've got Kong sort of eyeing up that space in a one-way towards C, but they're not giving G2 a lot to move on. So G2 are gonna have to clear out this space, realize Baby Door isn't broken, and speed up into B site.
Yeah, they fancy it now. The temptation beckoning and snaring the senses, making that B side look almost tantalizing. Plants in there. You can see the Prowler from deep. They're very paranoid for EDG that someone could be lurking towards that A side.
This fight here is everything. Jonah P gets in the corner.
Oh my god, the Professor! Absolutely teaching him a lesson. Takes down 2, but a good trade. Now, Chichu, nobody and Smoggy have a long way back in here though. Valen, gonna be caught in the decay. Nobody now. Takes the next step forward. This is perfect. 3v3. Nice from Chichu. Takes away Jaw, and bit by bit, EDG unraveling G2, leaving Just Leaf. Oh, but maybe it's not Just Leaf, hold on. A 1v2 ain't easy though, smoked off as well. Beckoned forward by the spam, by the tap on the spike, he's got to go! Nice try, but better from G2, but the timing.
No, I don't think so. .07.
God damn.
G2 just steal around on time. Why not? And what a fashion to do it, because EDG, they're in a numbers down situation.
Yep.
Right? And then they win every single 1v1 they take. Yep. Nobody. Chichu, Smoggy on the flank.
Feeling like an EDG round, right?
And if Leaf can't get that kill just slightly faster on the reactions, then Chichu. That round belongs to EDG.
They don't look too fussed about it, but I'm feeling the pressure now. 10-6, double digits made early. G2 looking to try and approach this, but EDG, okay.
They've got
the corner.
No guns, but the power of friendship, I suppose.
Kung's got a bulldog. I don't feel like this might be the one that works for him. You know, it's one of those weird rounds. Okay, I've been talking absolute nonsense. Jaws already got Kung. Leafs identified that there was some pressure on the other side. Does get outdone though, and that's a recovered rifle.
Yep, into the hands of Chichu, no less. So what does Jogmo have to do? Has to pop the ultimate, clear out this A site. Right now, it's just Simon playing up inside of this smoke. He's got a bulldog in hand.
Doesn't get spotted either. They don't know about Simon here. Now they do. Quick little get out of jail free card there for Jaw, but still, plant is in.
Heavy offsite post plant for G2. Not over-forcing like they did the last time around, but really it's Chichu with the rifle in hand to try and break this round open. He gets the first.
Oh, it's stunning from Chichu. More? No. Jonah P on the trade. Paranoia comes in, and now the numbers starting to fall as this is looking rough. You can see the util being poured on here. Trent even going to claim one, going to put the ult on top. They're taking no chances. Smoggy had his ult, but doesn't feel like he's going to get the chance to use it here. G2 on the verge of 11, but Smoggy giving a damn good go. Jonah P having none of it. G2 make it out, even though it got a little bit dangerous. It's 11 nonetheless.
Yeah. You know, they had to throw a couple ultimates into the mix. G2 aren't going to be thrilled about that, especially because EDG have a great ult cycle of their own coming on through. And ultimately, here, I feel like if Chichu had been able to find a second coming, there's a world where he gets 3 kills and can steal that round away. You know, he's had a lot of these spots where he's always good for his 1 kill, but in other days, he is having montage performance. He's getting those 3. That's the EDG that blew G2 out of the water. If he can, out of this timeout, tap back into that, it's going to be a lot more threatening as we close out this first map.
EDG pumping the brakes, and I think rightly so here. It's not been a good first map for them, really. The string of rounds alone, I mean, we're looking at it, you guys can't see, but it is looking real G2-sided as it stands. So for now, I guess we could kind of put this in context. This is G2's map choice. Right? They've had time now to plan how they want to approach this. They come in with a lot more information in their own minds, and they come off a very good win as well. These are things that should be in the forefront of their minds. Now, of course, they did get absolutely put to bed by EDG in the first time they met. That first map, banger, brilliant, amazing. The rest, probably soon, hopefully forget it, right? Yeah. But here, it feels like G2 have a plan in mind that's working. EDG, I've rarely seen them look like a team without an answer, which is kind of what it's feeling like.
Usually EDG can find those answers in just the stellar performances of their individual players, especially in a comp like this, right? You don't lock in the Clove and then not put up big numbers. Smoggy's doing well for himself, but so far we haven't had that lights-out superstar performance. We haven't had that one guy to step up and say, today's the day EDG are winning. It's something they've had every other match they played this year.
Looks like a very simplistic start, but there is a default being held on both extremities here.
Stun off of the breach, could open up that door and fight into B main, but G2 have a chance to pinch themselves going through a one-way.
But it's going to find so little, I think. It's Jonah Pete's nice. Smoggy going to force the res, but it's G2 being played in here. Deals with Jaw, doesn't fall foul to it, but a diving Jonah P puts him to bed. It's down to a 4v4. Jonah P is an absolute monster. Trent going to find Simon. Why does G2 make this look easy? This is EDG. These are the reigning champions, and right now, G2 are walking all over them. I can't believe it. And you can get one, but one is not enough. G2 are there in numbers. Kung, if there was a player to do it, to deny the 12, you'd argue it could be him. Right now, G2 looking like they're on another level. The utility there to stall. The time being bought. The first man has a go, but Leaf's just toying with him, playing with his food. Kung can't get past the go signal. This is wild. It's not that it's just a win, and at least in my mind at 12-6, it's the fashion in which G2 are making EDG look out of sorts.
Almost that systematic destruction in every single opening tool taken. EDG love to play the brawly style.
They excel at it.
They do, but Jonah P has awareness to every new player that's swinging him off an angle. You know, his teammate gets taken down, so he trades them out. Door opens, instantly ready on the swing, on that 50-50.
Cutting through.
It's only map 1 though, right? Things will change, you'll get closer. 12-6, we go back in, and it feels familiar, right? This feels like we've been here before, but G2 stake their claim over towards Rubble.
EDG keeping 2 players tucked in close behind that wall. waiting for the reclear, and with nobody finding that pick into mid, that might encourage G2 to keep fighting forward into A.
They have no idea about how many players are around this corner, though. They could walk into this. Yeah, Kung this time is fired up, and then completely just seems
looking at?
drift. Oh my God.
What are they looking at?
I don't understand what I'm seeing. This is EDG. This is not a second-tier team. This is one of the best in the world, arguably the best in the world. And right now, they look asleep at the wheel. G2 just driving forward. We're going to need heroics to save this round. Maybe it's nobody's time to shine. G2 there, Smoggy there. Valorant and Jonah P to claim, but Jonah P has been a monster. Nasty in his work. Valorant in the smoke. Chichu catches, nice from Chichu. That was better, but that felt bizarre halfway through that round.
Left scratching your head for a moment there. Even though EDG had done all the great opening work, nobody finding the pick into mid. That first kill towards Rubble too. Got a little bit diabolical.
Enemy remaining.
We need someone like Chichu to heat up a bit here, right? Chichu, give me a little something, because we've been singing this guy's praises, you know? On for the MVP, the big man kind of taking all the limelight. These are the games we need you to show up in as well. He's not doing badly, he's 14 to 15, but you know, he's a superstar. So we go again at 12 to 7. G2 held off from that wanted 13. Smoggy, big shot! Oh, it's gorgeous! A third potentially as well. He waits.
This fight into front B is going to be everything. As smokes come in, Trent tries to fight his way out, carve himself away on through.
Yeah, but Smoggy, he's still on this one. He's still there. They're still trying to battle it out towards B, but Smoggy's controlling so much. You are a lucky boy, Smoggy. The gods smiled on you this round, but Valorant left in a 1v3. Got Spike, got ult.
Plenty of time, too. A paranoia, a couple of smokes. He's got to hunt out the first kill, though, and getting spotted is brutal.
He's got 1v1s on basically every single site he wants to go to. Now, do you fancy a chance against Smoggy, who's kind of 1v4'd your team?
Kind of killed everyone this round, so I wouldn't like that personally.
Do you even invest your paranoia to clear this close corner? Do you back him still on it? Because Smoggy certainly does the setup here. Knife's edge, and it's Smoggy. What a stunner from him. 4 kills and a step back.
In this replay, I want you to watch Smoggy. Of course, excellent gunplay, but Chichu is the one that bails him out. Smoggy gets stunned back here, but a paranoia catches both of these players. There's the clone and the Yoru. That's what gives him the chance in the round. Then he has the one-way, those BDCs running on through it. All the gunplay after that, just clinical.
G2's first time out here. Something, they don't like it. Because there's something special about EDG, and I feel like we haven't had much of a chance to talk about it in this game because G2 were the better team so far. But at 12 to 8, I still get nervous when I look at EDG because there's still that chance that you get around from Smoggy.
Oh, yeah.
And that's without talking about Chichu, Kung, nobody. Sorry, I mean, you go down the list.
They're terrifying, you know?
And if they start activating him, then that's 9 rounds.
Look, Pansy,
11.
EDG hadn't won 2 rounds in a row in like the last 15 rounds. Now they've got a little bit, they win 2 in a row, G2 call a timeout. The things I'm looking at right now are a little bit spooky. Yeah, okay, G2 have a buffer of 4 rounds.
What's spooky here?
Well, I see 5 stingers for G2, that's number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, Kong's decided to go for the operator. And honestly, when I've been watching a lot of the early fights that EDG have been doing well, they've been leaving Kong sort of on an island to take those isolated fights, fighting a lot more around Smoggy and Chichu. So I think putting the op in his hands could just work. Sneak away a few rounds towards the end of regulation.
But I've heard a thing about Americas with stingers. I've heard these fables about it, right? They work better out there.
They're a little bit wild.
It's crazy that Riot tuned them that way, but we'll see. Okay, EDG, if you want to make a game out of this, it starts now. Make this look clean. Make this look like you have the perfect purchase up against a bunch of stingers. Show me what you can do here, because already G2 have a plan. And Jaw, I don't think you come out of this alive, you don't, Chichu. Puts him into the blender, and G2 held at the door here. EDG don't need to stick around too far.
Trying to work back in, but yeah, EDG can just fall back into a nice crossfire. It was a great counter stun from Simon into the blast that took out G2's duelist, and now the stall is just about endless.
Not going to get the opening move they wanted out of that. It was a nice little idea. I like the, approach, the mentality. doesn't really stick the landing.
And the worst part is G2 needed that to work because that would open up the lurk for Leaf to move into the A site, but because they weren't able to make much headway, well, Kong's op is still back towards stairs, so Leaf moving forward would be absolutely mental.
Here we go. Could be an X factor here, or it could be nothing. All up, G2 move in. Now focus through towards tree. Kong doesn't really get much play here, at least not yet. He'll be a little nervous when Trent's around. He's been sharp, but Kong,
this is a bit early.
He's feeling brave on this one. He's feeling quite bold, actually. Kept secured by the smoke, but only for a second. Look at who's closing in on the other side as well. So just a centimetre apart. Hello, Kong quick with it. Support from Simon, and G2 left in towards the ult. It's down to a 3v2. They're going to force out the ult as well. Simon taking no chances here. They want to bulldoze forward. Oh, I told you about these stingers. And maybe it's true. Smoggy has to pull this off himself. And the time is ticking. G2! The stinger in hand, more than enough to close out map 1.
I can't believe it's going down like that. G2 on 5 stingers in a 4v5, no less. Pull away the round, take map 1 in this series to determine who is headed to the grand finals.
At your party.
I'm with the gang.
It's gonna be a robbery, so take your gun buddies.
Aw. I'm a gun buddy girl, I'm sorry.
Welcome to a brand new season of the Rockford Circle. I'm Chitrangada Singh, and in this season, we are diving into
Jenly here with Coach Josh RT now. Josh, congratulations on the Lotus. Next up is Split. You guys have only played this map once this year, so why leave it open? And did you guys see something that you can maybe exploit from EDG Split yesterday?
Well, the good thing is that there's a lot of footage on EDG. But with a strong team like EDG, you kind of have to pick your poison. So we decided, like, let's try this route.
Is G2 winning the pistols on Split?
Did we win a pistol last game? Maybe the trend continues. I don't know. Hopefully we break the trend here.
All right, good luck and thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, good news, Josh. You broke the trend. You're good. You're good. All right, welcome back, everyone. Now, G2's undefeated streak continues on Lotus. They are 5-0 in 2025. An absolute heater of a map for this team. In Sideshow, it really is just some excellent ideas that we're seeing from G2 some of these rounds.
Yeah, the G2 composition just was winning so many of these rubble fights over here. There were 6 occasions where EDG opted into it, trying to take control of this area of the map at the beginning, and G2 smoked them either by getting a player advantage or winning the round outright 5 out of 6 of those times. And I think that's a compositional difference. It's not necessarily EDG playing badly. I think they had good individual performances, in fact, today. But G2's ideas were superior, and they knew what was coming because EDG have been playing this comp since July.
There were a lot of those rounds there you were seeing, like, there was a lot that was being asked of Kong in those initial fights, where he was pretty much just isolated because of the sheer amount of utility that was just being dumped on them at the beginning of those rounds of Rubble.
Yeah, absolutely. So many different combos, so many different uses of the stunts, the paranoias, the salvos. So difficult for them to actually find something. On the other hand, Valen with the TPs, we saw so much variety in such little time. And G2 understanding and preparing also how EDG played this map on the attack. It's very beautiful to see.
Yeah, sometimes they're committing the utility right at the beginning. Here, EDG go for like a late re-clear over towards Rubble. G2 are still ready for it. They've still got people posted up. Valen's there, ready and waiting. And also that set them up for some nice retake scenarios where they were able, you see here, EDG only winning 5 out of 9 of the post plants because G2 often had like one player advantage from the Rubble fight where they were able to get that slow, disciplined retake working.
Yeah, they were just so good at cycling the utility, making sure that they had what they needed each and every time. And in fact, that actually brings us to our HyperX Reflex moment of the match. And this is going to be G2's round 13 because, Josh, once again, we were seeing some really cool ideas with the utility and how they implemented it here.
Yeah, I mean, here's a little flash salvo combo to catch Smoggy. He took a lot of damage from this one. He just walks back into it.
He was also flashed. He was like, there's a lot, it's land sound, so there's a lot going on. But I think that we were talking about it in the pre-show as well. This receiving utility, this utility that just keeps coming back, this combo with the stun and the salvos in a round like pistols, you cannot survive. We will have to keep tracking how many kills Trent has been getting. We need a leaderboard, you know, of the salvo kills, because it is so beautiful to see and so absolutely consistent. Hopefully it will get nerfed soon.
Hey, that's real. That's real. I respect it. And look, without a doubt, Tejo is so powerful. We've been seeing it implemented in pretty much every single map. That actually brings us to map 2 because we're going to be taking a trip over towards Split. And you got G2 on the defense first here, Kakuka. Now, there are a lot of opportunities here for some good combinations on the compositions because
yes, exactly.
G2 played this once.
Exactly. They've only played it once. We heard it in an interview. And as we were also mentioning, it wasn't pretty. But here, I'm looking more at the side of EDG. Maybe G2 changes or not. Very important what the coach was saying about there's a lot of tape because of the composition that they play. I love that they still have the jet. But thinking of EDG starting on the attack, the other day they had a 10-2 start. 10 rounds in a row.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful way to start a second map if they can.
Sideshow, before the game started, or before map 2, we were talking about it, and you said that there's a possibility that while this one went very well for G2, that it could easily seesaw in the other direction. Want to elaborate a little on that?
Yeah, so it definitely could, but that is because the only time that we've seen G2 this year play on Split, they got smoked actually, 13-4. And so if they haven't changed anything, if they come out with a similar kind of performance, EDG might steamroll like you saw them do against T1. But I have more confidence in G2 to turn things around. We've seen this team pick up new compositions like they've done on Bind, and they've managed to retool. They look really good with the Breach Tejo combo. I think better than EDG do, and this is a map where they're going to be playing both of them, but Kankan can be an X factor on the jet.
All right, well, of course, the world champs have their backs against the ropes. Let's actually go ahead and hear what Coach Muggle had to say as we get ready for map number 2.
Hello again, Jen Lee here with Coach Muggle and also Luna for translation. Now, Muggle, thank you for joining me. I just want to ask you about Lotus because it's a map that you guys have been kind of struggling with, even back in the CN League, and we see nobody switching back and forth between the Sova and the Fade. Do you feel like this was the solution to make your Lotus stronger, or was it just the lesser of two evils?
那其实我们可以看到莲花古城这张图，可能在森赛区的时候，我们就有一些挣扎。我们会看到 Nobody 可能在 Sova 或者 Fade 两个英雄之间去做摇摆。那你觉得现在是我们已经想出了这个解决的方式，还是说还在继续的调整和商榷当中？
这个图主要是打得太少了，就是基本上没有跟就是前面几场比赛基本上是不会拿出来的，所以说优先级没那么高。调整是有的，就是但觉得今天打G2那个阵容的话，就之前觉得这个阵容可能能打嘛，然后现在看来还是太湖的等级会更高一点。
Seems like we didn't play that much, like in the few days ago during the matchup, and seems like we thought we could beat G2 with these comps right now, but seems like Taiho is much stronger than we thought.
But next up is Split, so 加油!
Thank you, Jen, for that. And talking about the Taeho there, because that was something that when we were like in the green room in Americas watching like the China footage and stuff like that, we're talking about it. We're like, we don't really see a lot of the Taeho out there. And they learned today why that agent is so strong.
Well, they were trying to play a little bit of it, but it was always Simon playing the Taeho in China. And even then, the pick rates weren't high, like you're talking about. And at this tournament, they've swapped it up, so nobody is almost always playing the Taeho, because now they're playing much more breach Taeho. And I think there is a bit of a gap here that Trent can exploit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I agree. We see the synergy, and I think it's getting stronger. And most importantly, we were speaking about them learning from their losses and the way that they can win today, and especially on that Lotus, knowing that they have a composition that is going to fight and fight and fight. They still relied on their strengths. And as we jump into Aegis-Alent, the only thing that is going to change for G2 is Valin going from the Astra onto the Omen, which makes a lot of sense for Split, especially with how good Leaf has been defending, and anybody can be with those ones.
My eyes immediately go over to Kong Kong. He is going to be on the attack side with the Jet, and he went 2 and 8 in terms of first kills to first deaths on map 1. Now that's because he was Neon, that's because they had a bad game plan around the Rubble fights, but he needs to be able to find entry success for EDG to win. And I think G2 are going to be throwing everything at him to try to shut him down. We saw what G2 was able to do to somebody like Durka, made him look mortal despite the fact that he is an MVP candidate. Can they do the same to Kong Kong? Can they make today a bad one for the MVP of champs?
That is going to be a tough one for sure to deal with if you're Kong Kong here. Can this one go the distance? Will G2 sock him with a right hook, or will Kong Kong and the boys manage to hold on? Let's send it back over to Pansy and Ender for the call.
Yeah, this is getting wild now, right? It feels like there's something in the air here. There's a real opportunity for G2 to somehow 2-0 EDG, right? The map 1 approach that G2 had felt like a slam dunk. They had it read, they had it executed, it was perfect. This is a different situation. We are now into EDG's map choice.
Exactly.
We expect more comfort here. We need to see them looking better overall.
Yeah, EDG definitely the favorites coming into this map specifically. Also, G2 haven't really made serious changes coming on through. They got beat 13-4 versus Sentinels the last time we saw them play this map this year. They're going to need to make some pretty big changes because EDG have looked good here on Split.
Let's see what G2 can do. Right, this is a big thing for me. If we're going to be starting to see this map veto adjusting like this, I want to see if they can really stand up to it. It'll be EDG, of course, on the attack, that then meaning G2 on the defense.
Cute little bait and switch set up back B site here. Jogamo having all the support from Valin to bait out those shots while they... Oh, what's that nade?
Oh, what's that shot? Jaw so quick with it towards Kong Kong, but he goes a little too early on that. Simon going to punish him, forcing Leaf closer to site. Hold on. Do they still check? Do they still do their due diligence here? Leaf could get played in. He could have a monstrous impact. No, it's Simon to shut it down so quickly. That's a 4v2. Trent, I mean, he was damn good before, but Chi-Chu looking absolutely on it now.
That was nice. Chi-Chu speeding up through mid, I think behind a Taeho drone. And then EDG, yeah, okay, Kong Kong gets shut down by that Jogamo position in back sight, but after that, he didn't even blink, didn't even flinch on this entrance.
There's nowhere to get to.
Yeah, the stun combo that ended up catching Valin. That's what gave him no chance to escape from the missiles.
Taeho quite strong apparently.
Yeah, turns out.
Who'd have thought it? Oh.
Nice!
Looking like a little bit of a fire lit under them now. We were talking about their pistol conversion, though. EDG have been winning the vast majority, barring one, I believe, in that previous map.
That's 8 of 9 pistols now.
Yeah,
across
very,
the games
very
they've
clean.
played G2 in.
Beyond that, though, for G2, we're looking at them maybe trying to get those ult orbs up, or maybe just trying to get a little trap going here for EDG. The buy's relatively decent, as long as Kong doesn't lose that Vandal.
Looks like EDG think mid might be a little bit weak these last 2 rounds, trying to challenge it. This time G2 ready with the flash on the refight, but those missiles give you not a lot of room to fight in.
Go for a little crunch here. That what? How did Trent get 2? How's he got 2 from it? That is so outrageous from G2. I thought it was going to be a little bit of a biff, a little bit of a brawl, but apparently G2 just needs some classics. I was worried about the Vandal being dropped, let alone every other weapon. G2's having to come back in on cleaning duty. Boys, what's happened in middle? You made an absolute mess. And Leaf.
Just smokes on smoke.
Yeah, good luck. Have fun. He's clean. He's going to need a bit more than that, though. Leaf, suddenly, getting a little shaken here. But Jonah P's still alive. 4 bullets. They're waiting for this drop here. Oh! G2, you are outrageous! Saving EDG from what could have been a nightmare of a round.
G2 decided to wake up. 5-0 with the Red Bull clutch.
But G2 are not meant to be able to do this.
No.
Come on, look at Trent. You are so damn good.
And look, Trent and Jonah P on light buys have just been fiendish. Whether it's a Sting or a Guardian, a pistol, it doesn't matter.
Chi-Chu's been the closer here. We were talking about him not having big impact in map 1, right? He was a bit quiet compared to his traditional standard. He's already off to a heater of a start. However, we do have G2 in a nice position now with this purchase. This should be comfortable.
Outlaw in Dogmo's hands now. I think only the heavy armor on a couple of players, Chi-Chu and Kong Kong. But, you know, you see Chi-Chu step up like this, that's great news for EDG. But Kong Kong sitting at 0-2, that's now, after a 2-8 performance in opening fights, he's been taken down very early in these 2 rounds. EDG without him at the top of his game. It's been hard to see them compete with the best in the world.
Quite like what Trent's doing here, very passive in approach, not giving away too much space, and Leaf kind of working off the negative space that was kind of assumed to be in the territory, and Trent still delivering. This man looks so sharp on the tail, I can't stress it enough. And now EDG starting to struggle a little bit here. This bonus was lacking in the investment as well, obviously light after round 2. Trent, just a safe pair of hands, can't stress it enough. He is so solid, an absolute rock of this team. Now, can Simon or Chi-Chu get under their skin? Can they cost them any of these weapons?
It's going to have to be Simon with a Vandal in hand. Only 55 HP, though, getting swung out on the side. Now he knows where the first is, but as Trent falls into sight, those angles are being taken away from him. 3 on the round is just excellence from Trent.
Really nice. Now, again, it was a bonus for EDG, a lighter purchase, but still, seeing that composure, Trent just looking super solid. I like to see it. Jonah P, similar things, at least in map 1 here. Trent kind of picking that space up.
It's really good awareness and sort of play from Trent and the support of the missiles coming in.
God, they're everywhere.
From Leaf and Trent. Because, you know, Leaf's getting pinched, players walking at him from mid, they're going up ramp into his shoulder there. And it seems like EDG really want to punish these mid players, right? The first 2 rounds, they fought into mid pretty aggressively. Now, going for the pinch look, G2 are going to be on their toes consistently through this half.
This is the big round, right? This is the one you want to really keep focused on. And have a look at G2. Walkabouts towards A, taking a lot of that space. A good response to someone whose high priority is middle.
Quick teleport from Jogmo goes back into B site. And that ult is going to try and push these EDG players away. G2 still hold on to A, have in control.
It certainly stalls them out, but there'll be a question mark by Vent. They're going to know that that's been available for some time. They put their eggs in the basket of pushing through A main to get that information. They get these lovely positions off the back. But mid is worrying, right? G2 now feeling like they're playing in the dark, almost blind to what EDG are up to.
That's why I think G2 want to re-clear up towards B heaven, look into mid, using that drone in towards A as well. So they realize EDG are putting their eggs towards this B site.
Yeah, George just came back over. You felt almost hesitation for a moment to slip back towards A, but no, look, especially with the space the Trent's taken, this feels very readable here, but it's still hard to hold this site. Very little of this area is playable, but Leaf's got a corner, and nobody can put Leaf in a corner. Already looking like EDG are suffering on the way in. Nice fight back through.
Hold on, Smoggy.
Oh, Smoggy, straight through middle. A surprise they didn't expect, but the positioning coming out from Trent is probably not something they're going to expect. We've got to look at Jonah P as well. Gap closing towards middle. Has a look towards rafters. Now Trent can start taking steps as well. EDG dedicated towards site, finding their own piece of security to play from. But oh my god, the timing! Trent just about to come back around here. They're putting it together. They've definitely put this together. Kung trying to find a corner as well. Jonah P with the stun. Everything's starting to get harder and harder to hold here. Kung trying to do the dance. But it's Smoggy and Kung in unison. Kept their cool and got the round.
Just chaotic rounds here that EDG sneak away with. I loved what they did. Smoggy was just hanging out in mid for the entire round, just about. Once they dealt with the player in back of sight, Jogmo gets caught completely off guard.
I've got to say, Smoggy feels like the bailout player there because G2 had everything red, right? You had Trent literally in their spawn. They had all the info. But that was so valuable for Smoggy's timing to come through there because Joel was doing damage from up in heaven.
I really like EDG's game plan. They are testing the gaps in G2's defensive setup, knowing there's no Sentinel, to find out where the weaknesses are going to be, and catching G2 as they maybe over-rotate sometimes with the Orwalt, as they abandon that space in towards mid. I mean, even here, they've done effectively nothing, hanging out towards mid, put some presence onto the B site, but that's going to be the drone already cleared from Trent, and that's G2's best info tool. It's their only info tool, apart from Jogno jumping out into the open.
And you can see the cause and effect of that. You've now got two players rotating away, right? You're going to have Joel leaning away from this Jonah P. This puts Trent in a really tough position. Now, he's got a good amount of stall, right? It's Teo. He can buy time for players to come back in. But Kung wants to disrespect it, but Jonah P then isolating the player behind. Can't control sight, though, as Kang is going to succeed on that one. Outdone, outnumbered. G2 flood back in early. They take the fight, and they take the heads of EDG. It's just Smoggy. A 1v4 necessary. Lovely on one, spots a second. Some more for us here, Smoggy. Not in the end. Trent there from the start and there at the end. G2 control this A site hit very well.
Trent's had a couple of great rounds so far. You'll see it on display here. Jonah P started off with a stun, and that sort of gave this window for Trent to sneak out of the smoke. The teleport Jogmo had put down very early into seeing some presence. Just after the Viper Orb had been thrown onto ramp, comes up in a big way too, because he can flood into sight and trade out his teammate that had already been taken down.
These are some big rounds for G2 as well. The timing that they're starting to hit here, it's feeling a little reminiscent of map 1. Now that's a very early call, and I expect EDG to look more comfortable here and have more looks to go to than in map 1 that felt almost crazy to find that same repetition. That was a big question mark for us.
Now look, the buy is miserable for EDG, but yes. Kong was given the orb in B main. He's got knives now. It's going to be an operation to challenge space in towards mid. EDG will note that the fight with the breach stun was shown towards the A side. That's going to open up the green light for Kong just go diving into vents.
I like what Sideshow was saying, is can G2 put Kung in a box, right? Can they deny this man getting building? Now they did it to Durka, but Kung a different beast altogether.
This is a way more developed attacking side than we saw from EDG in map 1. Right? That map was all about the opening brawls. Now they're slowing down the pace, really challenging G2 so that they're using the dimensional drift on an anti-eco.
And already you can see them slipping away. Kung was
so nice.
This almost wastes the ult, right? Well, to an extent, it gives you some info, but nowhere near what you wanted. You're going to have the drone coming out now towards A, which should be heard, but it's a creep towards B. It's all a fake. Valen, the blind in hand, the paranoia primed, is countered. Kung blinded, but gonna go forward, still feeling bold, but Chuddy, you can see the floor littered with explosives. Finds a corner to play from, spots out Trent, dealt with, put into a cage. The beast from the east not having the time to shine, and now those sheriffs feel like there's just no bite to them anymore. That was meant to be the big ace up the sleeve, and Trent is looking like the final boss on this map. G2 unfazed by EDG.
That's the clean round G2 fans were hoping for. Start building up the econ, especially because we are about to go into some full-on chaos rounds with the ults. They're going to be online. I like, too, how G2 are consistently playing into backside. I think realizing that because EDG aren't playing arrays, they don't have that double satchel, they don't have the reach to punish you all the way in backside. So they're throwing these smokes sometimes halfway through site. They're moving players back there. And EDG just are struggling to scale in and deal with the anchors.
I love this. I love that we're seeing G2 not do this on just that first map, right? This feels very reminiscent, but almost exceeding that in my mind, because I know that EDG are good here, right? That's the thing. When you look at Lotus, is a couple of question marks on this one, and G2's recent performances on Split certainly were nothing to be enamored by, right? You're not going, oh, brilliant, it's Split.
Fancy, they've already won 3 times as many rounds on defense as they won versus Sentinels.
Which is, and again, this is against EDG, right? I have to contextualize what they're doing here and how great it is to see someone like Trent shining like this. Absolute heroics from him. But Pause has come in for EDG. They want to have a chat. They got so many ults to play with as well. Yeah, Kung did burn his in that pistol round. That's fine. You know, the sheriff's coming through, not the end of the world. But I also have to say, Kung has not got the ball rolling, and that is a sentiment and a sentence I didn't think I'd be saying anytime soon. He's been quiet here at 2-5.
It's been a tough day for him, not just this map, but map 1 Lotus as well on the Neon. He's gonna have to start to perform now. G2, or EDG rather, have all the ultimates they could possibly ask for, right? But I don't think this team wants to overcommit them on an actual site hit. I think what they need in an A post plant is heaven control. They're gonna be fighting into this mid space early on, can maybe move back into a G2 lurk. The real challenge is, can they actually push Leaf out of this space? Because it doesn't seem so likely.
Leaf's got control here.
And they don't think they can either. They're full on bailing from it.
Trent consistent in this check, but we know that he doesn't back away from this space. And rightly so, EDG are backfilling that now off the timing of that drone going in. But he has been the headliner here for me. Trent, that's info. Surely he spotted a player on that one. Yeah, Jonah P ready for it. And we're gonna have the util pour on Kung again, finding no safety, no comfortable way in, but this time Simon saves him. Jonah P goes down as Kung takes the site control. Chichu deals with Trent towards heaven, and suddenly EDG have a pocket to play from.
And in the post plant, a rolling thunder as well, so G2, they need to act quickly or EDG are gonna take the fight to them.
First time in a while, EDG look like they're on the money here. Jaw, though, still having a glance! What a shot! Couldn't follow up, but now it's all on Fallon. Too much on the plate. EDG break down the door this time and stick the landing.
Huge round from EDG, right? They lose that, they're back on a bad buy again, and they only had to use the one ult. Tail ult's gonna be out of the picture, but they've still got Rolling Thunder. It's all because Simon found that kill. Jonah P, I think, took a great time in trying to push through.
I don't even blame him in a way, right? Exactly. That temptation to just close that down.
Because Kung wasn't gonna be ready for it. It is only because Simon is full spamming, playing through the stun. That he can get a kill, that EDG are actually able to get out into the site.
Operators out for Jaw as well. They're all coming this way. Oh my god, this could be a massacre. Jonah P sends the statement early, sending Kung into next round. Simon as well taking a boatload of damage, and they don't know about Jaw. A missed shot. Nobody punishing the push-up. And now we should surely reset the tempo a little.
We'll see, EDG. Now that they've dealt with Jaw, maybe thinking the coast is going to be clear, because G2, they're walking 3 players down into mid. Jonah P is playing it relatively safe back into screens, but he's being pinged out.
They've got to know about him, right? Oh my god, he's taking the timing. You are a brave boy, Jonah P.
This is a crazy spot.
You're just holding your breath. And have a look at the flank, look at Leaf. Look at this. This feels unbelievable. Who blinks first, right? So tense between these two. Heaven control, EDGs, a little bit of ramp pressure now coming in as well. Jonah P has not played this position.
They're contacting in.
And nobody doing this with the operator too has not been revealed. Jonah P can hold this. The gap is closing, the vice is coming. G2, they're right behind you! Leaf tears them apart, leaving just the 2 who were up towards heaven earlier. But they've got the spike. G2 and Smoggy. They've got TP on Smoggy, but does Leaf let him leave? He doesn't! He keeps him tethered! He keeps him down! G2 smothering EDG!
Oh, that's just nasty from Leaf. The walls closing in. After this crazy opening of a round, they show so much of a fight into A. Then Dogmo hit whiffy on that. I mean, just by a pixel, he's off. But as soon as the round slows down, it takes a guy like Leaf to see that window to go pushing fully through. Find that big flank.
They've broken the money again.
And it's the 3rd round in a row Simon's had ult. He hasn't had a chance to use it.
Nope. Well. This was after the timeout as well for EDG. They've had theirs.
Hello. What is
That looks
going on?
good. It looks, yeah, that's normal. It's an indie company, small indie company, don't worry about it. We keep going on here. For now, Kung has created space, right? He's got them the side. He bullied his way through heaven. Oh, Trent! Trent is on another level here, gonna play this back through, but there's a late lurk in towards middle. Gonna be needed here now as well, as already G2 closing the gap as Simon put on notice. Bouncer! Oh, back to back! You got another for a Simon! No, you don't, Trent! The final boss on this gets the defuse and takes G2 another step away.
Simon is trying so hard to be the guy to step up for EDG. Narrowly misses out on that one. He's had some big moments earlier today as well, but all right, G2, a moment to breathe, get the round, move past those shots from Simon, it's okay.
This is a heater of a game. Operator still there now for Jaw as well.
Hopefully Valen can put himself back together too. Floor accurate Omen, I think.
They're going for another biff. Yeah, they're having a brawl again.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Kung has to just get out of there, get out of dodge. G2 are really turning the screws here on EDG.
But this time they're expecting EDG to move back into mid. Look where Jaw is with the op. He's fully cornered off in the wall. Now he's opening up. Early on, he was just having Leaf bait out that early shot so he could swing for the second trade. But now that no one's here, it's okay. 2 rounds ago, we were allowed to fully walk into this space. Can we get away with it again?
The drone did find contact on A as well, so this is now getting a little bit uncomfortable. The timing, yeah, Leaf, every day of the week. They're making this map look small, right? This EDG now, their hand gets forced. They have to force this A fight. They can maybe consider a pivot through heaven, but you got to play it forward now. It's all going to get messy. Trent still alive here. How is he standing? I don't know, but this is just an absolute battlefield. Kung, but from the grave, Trent trades out. We're still in a 3v2. EDG are trailing numbers, but they have the plant.
G2 in heaven. He's got a beautiful timing here, looking down into G2, but Jogbo takes him out. G2 shut EDG out of the round.
I can't believe what we're seeing here. This is getting better and better, closer and closer. G2, another step now, up to 6 here. EDG held on that 4th, and they burnt the timeout early, if I'm not mistaken. So for them, they've got to find the solution on the fly, and we've given them credit in the past for this, but I've got to say it, G2 looks so good on this map.
Oh yeah, they've realized now mid, well, EDG were playing into it a lot early in the rounds. Now they've left it open. G2 are starting to punish into that zone, using the ultimates too to stop out the hit, just always trying to flood into the sites, and now Jogmo